Hello there everyone and welcome back. I have decided to extend my time with the Town Protector fleet for another week or so, for I feel like there's still a little bit of nuance to get into and I really do want to figure out if there's any real possibilities to the Railguns specifically. Sure, we already seen the potential to secret missiles for crying out loud when I played with the merchant fleet, so that's my endeavor here and I don't think I got everything I needed to. Never mind the fact that it's an odd experience with the Tau and the Railgun specifically, since in the last patch, like almost a month's time ago, both the Imperial Navy and the Adeptus Mechanicus had their macro cannon buffed, which before, the Tau was actually better in terms of the macro cannon firepower to the Imperial Navy and Mechanicus. That's no longer the case, if only by the slightest of margins, mind you. So it's going to be an odd experience trying to see if they're actually due for a buff for that reason alone, or the fact that they have the AC armor and can utilize all their firepower is all they need to potentially win out in those type of firefights. Hard to really say, but nonetheless I did mix up my fleet some. This is still the fleet I used on Friday, but I did cut out the Bastion, and I think I'm contemplating maybe doing another variant that has 2 Bastions as opposed to like 3 different sub-squads. What I'm hoping to experiment with is have the emissaries harass, use their assault running to kind of do some damage on the side or on the flank ideally, and the protectors are more to frontline the muscle. That is the thought process anyway, and I still have 2 frigates here, one of which is a Castellan. I would have loved to have 2 Castellans, but we're a bit short on points, unless I want to downgrade to the, the Fiorla type of protector, which oddly enough, they did buff the ion cannons for all the Tau ships, which makes them a little more potent, but oddly enough, the Custodian and this Fiorla does not have that buff, since they have the extended range, so they're technically a different type of ion cannon altogether. So it's a little bit odd, needless to say, and it hurts the Custodian just that tiny bit more in terms of the firepower it has to bring. But I am going to experiment with this and see if there's more fruit. I want to try to avoid the 6 Protector fleet since its main strength is all about the secret missiles and the sheer amount of fighters and bombers that are available to it. But I already mentioned my interest is trying to see if there's merit to the Railguns. Okay, Space Marines. I talked about before with my Custodian how I want to keep these things at arm's length. And that is still true. With their higher mobility though, I may have a little bit of difficulty keeping my sauces away, and those things can die, or at least have the crew killed off incredibly quickly. I don't have to worry about being detected so much. Oh well. This will be a real fight, I suppose, since my opponent is kind of sick and tired of War Spear spam. Although, while I was going to say, with the change to the Wirecast Ambassador, they could, well, I was going to say that they could do morale damage, but at the same time, they are kind of focused on doing troop damage, so maybe that's not a thing, since they can't quite do the morale damage necessary, in all honesty, to at least force the mutiny in general, in most circumstances. With the Colexis Assassin, that changes a little bit. If only a little bit, and even then, that is about half the morale, and I don't think the troop damage is enough in that regard. How do I want to go about grabbing objectives, though? Well, actually I can have this one here grab this objective easily enough, and where's my Castellan? Okay, I haven't hit him with the rest of the fleet, which I guess is okay. This will work. And we have a little bit of secret missiles for good measure now. And I have Salt running, or Emission Dissipator, which I'm probably going to use here.
Montka, the killing blow brings the enemy's end.
Otherwise, I'm trying to think of how I want to do this battle. Since we have gas clouds here, without a doubt, we're going to be fighting for the middle. That's self-explanatory. And what I'm going to try and do is use my protectors to maybe drown out the noise of my sauces. But this looks like the same 6 strike cruiser fleet, potentially. It's looking like it, at least. Now let's start grabbing these objectives, one of which is a carrier ship. Well, 2 carrier strike cruisers, so that helps a little bit on me trying to deal with the boring torpedoes, but they're still going to be deadly without a doubt. And I gotta know where they're going to intercept so that way I can have my fighters kind of in the way. Oh, and I never moved you. Not a huge issue, I guess, but let's try and get some movement in. Ideally, do the same thing as what we did with the Custodian when I was faced off against Space Marines. Just destroy whatever components I can get at, ideally. I don't want to boost too much because my opponent can hear this hum, and it ruins a little bit of the element of surprise. Never mind, my combustion gauge, with that said. Oh, my fighters are a little bit too slow, alas, so that's a bit of a shame. But at least I'm going to kill off their fighters relatively easily. Alright, take that back. My fighters aren't going to take them down. They're just forfeiting the point altogether. And you're just calling back for me to shoot down. That's fine.
At your orders, Koro.
I would like to go for a third point, but a little bit risky. Oh, it's Lance Fleece before. Okay, I know who this is. Let's try spread out the damage. Get the experimental railgun going. That'll be good too.
Targeting sensors lock on.
And see, well, they're gonna have fighters launch. Let's not kid ourselves. Now, experimental railgun's the important thing. Although it's a bit split damage, but we did get the hit.
You have seized a strategic area.
I did prioritize engines, right? Sadly, I'm not getting the engine critical hits I would like, and you are not cooperating very well in this manner. Okay, engine critical hit there. Can we at least start killing these off? Actually, I do have seeker missiles. Let's not kid ourselves. And we're about to get bored to death, so let's keep that in mind too. And a cool Exus Assassin to boot. Can I do the damage necessary? Since I don't have the burst damage anymore of my other ships. And you guys are in a bit of an awkward spot. Now, the crew's about to die. Let's be mindful of this.
That cannot be done, Koro.
Plasma bomb. I do have repair bombs going, so that's kind of okay there. Now we just gotta kill this thing. The plasma bomb is well felt, though. And you can hide a gauge. Okay. Let's try and hide a gas cloud some, ideally. Let's see. Yeah, we only dealt with 2 strike cruisers so far, but the deck and engine's gone. We have repair drone currently being active, so that's a nice convenience here. Although we're going to suffer a lot of critical hits if I'm not careful. So kill the flagship for good measure, I guess. And that was a bad hit. It did hit, but it didn't hit what I wanted, though. And that Seeker missiles did not do the damage necessary, alas. Can I kill off the one strike cruiser? That would be nice. Apparently I did absolutely no damage there. Lack of fighters definitely hinders me some. But if I could destroy the weapons, maybe I'll be okay. Boarding is likely to kill me here, if I were to be serious. So let's try and disengage some. Disengage, do some damage here, ideally, but it's not quite possible, alas. We only killed 2 strike cruisers. I really do need the burst damage as a custodian, it seems like. Because right now, that did me little good. And even with fighters, or so I saw fighters being able to deflect some of those shots, they did me a little good too. It seemed decent there, but didn't quite get the... Oh, I could have marked too. Kind of forgot about my marking potential, which would have helped me a lot there with the Monka. Although I only had a single frigate, so it's not going to be that significant either. But can I at least destroy... What's permanently destroyed? Just one engine is permanently destroyed, so that doesn't do me much favors. At least at the moment. I still have a lot of railguns to potentially shoot down and critically hit them, but I need to start grabbing points before this starts snowballing out of control. That's a bit of the problem. So I'll easily get some marks in there. I have the engines prioritized, I just gotta kill the engines now. And I'm probably gonna have to disengage with that said too. Also boosts up my morale, that's kind of important in this regard. I would love engine critical hits, but we're not getting it so yet. Actually, you're like the worst thing to kind of go after anyway, to an extent. And they do have more speed than me, so I can't really outrun them the best. So I think this is over no matter what I can do. Yeah, I have no secret missiles or anything to note. Well, that's a little unfortunate. The burst damage of the Custodian really what looked like did the deal for me there in the last match. I just don't want to go with 6 protectors is the only problem. Since we already know how it's going to work out, so it's not really going to be all that interesting to watch. But now I'm inclined to go back to Custodian to an extent. Since we're at least the railguns are not all that practical here. So we'll give it another try with the Custodian. Okay, Tyranids. Paradox, so I'm assuming this is the Pyroacid type of fleet. I'm confident I could probably deal with a Pyroacid fleet really well. The only catch is I need to catch them early. And maybe deal with the Krakens with my Custodian. That would be the only thing, since I don't really have good armor-piercing potential outside my bombers. And the problem I have in general is the fact that I need those fighters to also help with spotting. So, all sorts of interesting little nuances. I could use an experimental railgun shot to help kill him off there. 300 points of damage is no joke. And there's our confirmation as Pyroacid. Now, I would love a beacon, because what I'm thinking of doing is withholding launching my fighters on the Custodian, so that way I can launch the bombers almost immediately as soon as I detect the Krakens. And am I going with the lack of do I need a mission dissipator? Because as soon as they start getting on me and I don't do the damage necessary, this will fall apart. But at the same time, they will fall apart if I this might warrant an opportunity for strobe field, maybe. It might warrant it. There's a little bit of experimentation here because I like targeting coordinator a lot in this regard.
Montka, the killing blow brings the
To
enemy's
maximize my accuracy a little bit, especially on the main ships themselves. But we see maybe that's not as practical as it could be. Otherwise, protectors, you're set there. You are all set, and the lone ship is gonna try take point. Let's give this a try. I don't have my mission dissipator, but I'm kind of okay with that. To an extent.
ready.
Okay, here I'm rushing on the side there.
We serve the Kovatra.
Where am I worried about them being?
Barracuda shoals launched.
Oh, did I overdid that? I think I may have... No, I don't think I overdid that actually.
Honor the teachings of Yana.
I was wondering if there was a blind spot with me detecting the invisible ships or not, or any of their hidden ships. And then we have a beacon here to conveniently spot too. They still have all this room, but That at least gives them a massive area denial,
Orders,
or
Colonel.
area they
You
can't
have
go
seized
through.
a strategic area.
Although in all seriousness, they can't go through an asteroid belt.
Gravitic drive
So
engaged.
maybe I'm not being as clever as I'm thinking.
At your orders, Colonel.
Let's group our ships up together. We have Monka, and the reason
The
Monka is
enemy
going to be
has
helpful is
seized a
because
strategic area.
more fire assaults on the Krakens will help kill them
The
off a lot
Imperials
quicker,
guide us.
potentially.
Aircast ready for orders.
And we do have fighters going as well. Over on the left, I can get a sense of their
At
arc.
your orders, Colonel.
Nah, I don't want to go in the
It
asteroid
will be
belt.
so. How may I
Now,
serve
which
the
one is that tied to?
How may I serve the tower?
Actually, I was killing them off. I didn't actually need to recall them. That was kind of
Drones have
stupid of me.
identified an enemy target.
So we see
We
one
serve
ship,
the
and
combat-
interestingly enough, there's lightning strikes on that one.
Targeting sensors lock on.
Alright, so we see
We
three of
serve
them.
the Korvacha.
Core L
Barracuda shows
Oh, that was a mistake. I should have gone after the one that was, kind of have the flagship, because again, they have no synapse link.
as the Ethereals wish.
And that was a bad angle, a bad shot, god damn it.
May I serve the tower?
This is gonna fall apart quickly if I'm not careful.
strike the killing blow.
At your orders, Colonel.
I do have strobe field, right? Yes, I do have strobe field,
The
so let's
enemy
keep
has
that in
seized
mind.
a strategic area.
Honor the teachings of Yona.
Now, this is gonna be very painful if I do this right. Because secret missiles, no point defense, you're rushing me,
Aircraft ready for orders.
and your weaponry is gone.
The Ethereals guide us.
Now we gotta start with our evasive maneuvers. That's kind of the catch here. Because that's a lot of hits, a lot of marks, and a lot of fighters, but now I need bomber support.
Repair drones activated.
Engines are good, now we gotta get these the hell out. Otherwise, this is not gonna do me much good.
An escort ship is now
Can this thing die now? It's got the fire assaults for it, but
target.
it's not gonna mean much now.
We serve the Korvacha.
Now these
You
things
have
need to go feral.
accumulated 25%
Really
of
damn
strategic
quickly.
points.
Bombing run underway.
And all sorts of fire, so alas, this thing's gonna break again. It has almost no crew at the moment, which is kind of good in that regard.
At your orders.
We're not out of the woods yet. I'm just not doing nearly the damage, surprisingly. That brace for impact is impacting the morale really damn well, I gotta say.
Teachings of Yona.
I still have strobe field.
Orders, Colonel.
I still got repairs.
Gravitic
Well, as soon as I repair, you god dang, break my engines, you cursed thing.
Aircast ready for orders. To spread the great.
Now, I don't have any bombers yet. It's a bit of a problem.
cast ready for orders. For Anbar, it will be so.
Kurtite's teachings guide our fire.
And god dang it, I was about to fire secret missiles too, so that was badly timed.
To spread the greater good. How may I serve the tower?
There's just one ship left. It's not likely to do what's necessary, though.
The Ethereals has been lost.
Especially with the panic seeker missiles there.
Resetting system.
Oh yeah, these things don't have a negative modifier. That's what the problem is. I thought there was like a 75
Ethereals
negative modifier, so I overthought this a tiny bit.
by my set we shall attack.
It is only a single ship, but
Restore the Earthcraft's construction.
still work needs to be done.
For Onva, it will be so.
Let's try and kill these off. I do have, again, the strobe field,
Seizing one of your strategic
which should help a little
areas.
bit. I just gotta actually kill these things off now.
To spread the greater good.
And I don't think it's gonna
The
happen
enemy
here.
has seized a strategic area. The enemy has accumulated 50%.
Especially
of
if engine's
strategic
broken.
points.
It was close. I misunderstood the bravery trait, especially on the hive ships. And I don't think this is going to do what's necessary. Nowhere near the damage necessary to break that hive ship.
Gravitic drive
It was some damn close, though. I got a little bit tunnel vision as a result of that.
A Tau vessel has been destroyed.
But it shows I can kill them quickly, but once they get in close like that, it's going to cause issues for me. So I have to make sure secret missiles hit, and they have to be a killing blow. They need to make sure they do what's necessary to kill that thing off immediately. Especially with something like the Void Predator jumping out. Psychic Scream isn't a huge deal, but I could have negated a lot of the morale damage it caused with a rally. And did the beacon? Well, the beacon spotted the one hive ship, but at the same time, that wasn't the ship that I prioritized. So I'm wondering if there's any... I'm just trying to figure out what would be best as far as skills that I can use. Since it is really important to spot these things, and I like to think that went well, I had not been paying attention at all to what the custodian bombers were doing, sadly. So I have no idea if they helped do the damage necessary, but we've seen how quickly that thing melts just as sheer barrage of secret missile fire. And then it just died off quickly, apparently. It seems like. But I like to say the strobe field did decently. Could I do better? Okay, Imperial Navy. And I kind of already hinted at before how the Imperial Navy got the buff to their macro weaponry. So they are now slightly better in, I think, overall. At least the macro weaponry itself in comparison to the railguns and of course their torpedoes versus my seeker missiles. The only big exception is that the majority of my ships have fighters and bombers associated with them. So it remains to be seen how that fares points-wise in terms of which fleet's better. Although, what is it? My Sauces first, well, they're not likely to have any dauntlesses, but that's like the closest we could probably compare them to, with the Sauces having 3 seeker missiles and a bunch of railguns versus the macro weaponry torpedoes of a dauntless, but even then, I think they're only like 5-6 points more. A lot of that, of course, to do with the fact that they have the prow armor to help with to complement their weaponry. At least what I think is going on there. I don't know what the hell I'm saying anymore, in all honesty. I just am trying desperately to get this to work somehow. Since I don't really have the interest in playing with the 6 protector fleet, which is the more common one and definitely the most simplest fleet to kind of utilize in all seriousness, since every one of your ships has access to fighters and bombers, which complements the seeker missiles really damn well. You can almost erase entire ships if they don't know how to evade them, let alone separate the fighters from the seeker missiles using their own fighters or, like, decoy torpedoes, I guess, to kind of pull their ships away or their fighters away. So it's definitely a good way to get easy victories. It's undeniable. I want to say, at least now. Do I honestly want a mission dissipator? I am a little bit conflicted with the value of targeting coordinator and emission dissipator. It's definitely going to require a little bit of experimentation
the killing
still.
blow brings the enemy's end.
Especially when I'm going to boost forward. Oh, and I didn't want you to assault run, but I guess that's what's happening.
As the ethereals wish.
And ideally, what do we have here? 4 ships of sorts.
Ready for orders.
So are these all battleships then? It'd make it easy for me to deny their mobility to an extent, if they are all going to be battleships. Oh, never mind, there's like 5 or 6 ships there over on the right as well, so never mind that thought process. They're just really cramped together. Oh, never mind, they're frigates. So this probably is not the most terrifying type of fleet. It might be just a bunch of emperors. Maybe, unless there's something behind the gas cloud. There's always a possibility there, so let's rat that out. And be prepared for it specifically there. And ideally I want to separate my ships a little bit too. And we got a lone torpedo coming on through. So the big question, what kind of ship was it that just shot? Okay, we got Oberons.
Aircraft ready for
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about the Oberons, since they're not really going to be all that impactful here.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
I'm sorry to say,
orders. Gravitic drive engaged.
but there could be another thing I'm overlooking,
How may I serve the town?
since I don't think the Oberons are that expensive in all honesty.
Corel ready.
But we have fighters going in.
Barracuda shoals
Oh yeah, and
launched.
I only have... Oh, we spot frigates. Okay, so they have
Your
frigates
orders,
roaming
Colonel.
around. Gotta keep that in mind. And ideally I want to have a nice concave of some kind, since... Or at least have them close enough to the Custodian, but I don't want to have my entire fleet turning around and running away if I'm going to be trying to take shots on these things too.
How may I
Especially with the
serve
marker
town?
lights and all that.
As the ethereals
Oh, and
wish.
Ah, damn it. I didn't even have you in a group, so you're out in the middle of nowhere, but
Viola.
I am going to have 2 frigates at least help contribute some.
Aircraft ready for orders.
They're going to shoot down the fighters. We already prioritized components, so you got the armor on the
At your
shield,
orders,
so...
Colonel. Honor the teachings
And I
of
hear
Yola.
missiles. Oh, you do have
You have
dauntlesses.
seized
I am
a
completely
strategic
wrong.
area.
We get to see a dauntless for a change.
Drones
Although
have
it's a
identified
question of
enemy
how
target.
effective it is. It pales to its former glory, sadly, due to the fact that it does not have 3 charges to its torpedoes anymore. It still has melted torpedoes, but this is this is just a suicide run right now.
Run underway.
Is what's becoming rapidly.
We serve the Kovat.
And you don't have extended sensors.
Our
Oh,
shall prosper.
so there's 2 frigates there.
Your orders, Colonel.
No battleship to note just
Your
yet.
patient hand.
Now, I don't think I'm going to get the double hit on these Oberons. And this is an awkward angle in general. I don't know if that hit or not. I didn't see a visual effect to imply it did.
Strike the killing blow. Aircraft ready for orders.
Now get in there and start detecting. And I do have fighters, point defense to help deal with these some.
Drones have identified an enemy target.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
So Custodian hang in there. You guys hang in there.
Gravitic drive to maximum.
Ideally get close enough to do damage.
Weapons hot.
Although I should not have revealed you. That might have been a bit of a
The
mistake
greater
there.
good. Humming run underway.
So engines are gone there. Bombers are going to do their thing.
Will be so.
And I guess I just try and tank these shots as much as possible. Cause geez, there's a lot of damage right there in a
Gravitic
hurry.
drive engaged. Honor the teachings of Yola.
That took a lot of damage. We got Sauce shooting at that. Kulexis assassins, though, gotta keep that in mind.
Corel ready.
And see, well, you're about to burn to death.
Spread the greater
So
good.
we'll wait until the fire assault expires.
At your orders, Colonel.
And now, otherwise,
Barracuda shoals launched.
give me some fighters to complement these seeker missiles.
We serve the Kovatra.
Oh, and you execute your crew mutinies as well, just because of the dang fire assault. Single fire.
Serve the tower. Tower shall prosper. We serve the Kovatra. As the ethereals wish.
Can I fire seeker missiles? Well, I have Sauces, but they're not doing the damage just yet. Actually, can I mark? Never mind. Never mind.
Reporting losses among
Let's try and kill these off quickly enough.
Aircast ready for orders.
Your engine's gone.
Gravitic drive engaged.
Maneuvering thrusters engaged.
Actually, can I just disengage?
The ethereals
Your
guide
deck's
us.
gone, so you can't conceal yourself right now.
Forever ready.
And that was a bit of a miscontrol there, but I do have fighters being launched, so that helps alleviate that some.
At your orders, Colonel.
Fire more seeker missiles there. Those... And with your assault run, you should be able to disengage easily enough. Although now I can't rally
How may I
my
serve?
flagship, so it's kind of out of the fight, so these seeker missiles do need to do the damage necessary.
Honor the teachings of Yola. We serve the Kovatra.
You have accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Not looking to be happening here.
Aircraft
But let's
ready for
continue
orders.
marking maybe. Although the engines are permanently gone, that one Oberon, so I do have that going for me to an extent.
Operation Vanguard gets the credit.
Can we finish this off?
Target acquired. Repair drones activated.
Doesn't
Drones
look like it, not in a quick manner at least.
target.
Since I'm currently assault running to kind of keep these sauces alive, and no, I did not want your cold arms.
Barracuda shoals launched.
Do I have any scanner pulses left?
Your orders, Colonel.
That was just out of reach. I thought I had something to spot, or I thought it was close enough.
Barracuda shoals launched.
But I do have secret missiles at the ready. Oh, it is conveniently spot, so let's finish this off.
Drones have identified an enemy target.
Although those were not the secret missiles I expected.
Ethereals guide us.
If I were to be serious.
Repair drones activated.
We serve the commander.
So the flagship's gone, at least we're making progress, but since we're,
Drive engaged.
what is it, just lance batteries, and then just macro cannons, so
We serve the
we're having a
commander.
difficult time just with these three Oberons alone, so maybe there is something to the bombers and the secret missiles. Which is a bit of a shame there, because I rather do enjoy the railgun style of trying to constantly poke them down, and just evading and engaging at range and just having like multiple arcs.
Fire warrior
Since hell,
attack.
these are battleships, we had some really good chance of critical hits after all.
Strategic points.
So it was quite effective in that regard.
Cast ready for orders.
If we're getting permanent critical hits on like the battleships at a relatively good pace. I just gotta remember to mark properly.
Teams boarding
Is the only
enemy
catch.
ships. For Onva, it will be so.
So maybe enhancement to the railguns is kind of needed in the future, or maybe I have to rely more on the critical hit
Honor the
factor
teachings of Yola.
if I want to get some at least get somewhere with this
At
fleet.
your orders, Colonel.
Because otherwise, I should be focusing on trying to grab objectives. Well, who am I kidding? We have 2 objectives versus their 2, so I'm in fine shape. I'm just not gonna have the fighters now to kind of hang on
Drones have identified
To-
an enemy target.
what is it? To at least keep the point. Yeah, I'm not gonna have the fighters to at least outlast with against the secret missiles, or at least last against the point defense very long. And am I gonna hit wreckage?
Calculating new vector.
I almost hit myself there, so there's always that.
For Onva, it will be so. Aircraft
And
ready for
engines already got critical hits, so. And so yeah, the scanner pulse is doing work, because that's again 3 engine critical hits really early on with battleships that are supposed to be really difficult to kill off, or at least get critical hits on.
Ethereal's wish.
And to emphasize my point, there's a permanent engine critical hit.
Your orders, Colonel.
Although relying on chance to kill off their engines and then evade is probably not the best strategy if I were to be so honest. But yeah, that is game. I don't want to play the 6 protector fleet, damn it. There's got to be something more there to it than that. Since if I want to rely on the secret missiles, I would go on to play with the merchant fleet. At least I could find some enjoyment with like what the three explorers and then 2 heroes to kind of serve as the tanks. So why would I want to do that again for the protector fleet is my honest question.